So that's my calc reactor. I know it's not the traditional calc reactor, and don't focus so much on it being so tall. Like I said, it's 5 foot tall. But notice that the cloud height is way up here, and it's got roughly, I don't know, 2 pounds of calc in it right now. The fresh water gets pumped in right here, so of course it has to make its way through all that to become saturated before it gets pumped out into the tank, or I guess gravity fed back into the tank. While I'm down here, I also want to show you, if you can kind of look at the bottom of the tube there, you can see that thing rotating. That's the paddle. It is rotating at 72 RPM, and the paddle looks like this guy here. So it's just the my design. It's a TPU'd printed paddle, and it has a magnetic, or a bunch of magnets inside of it, and this DIY thrust bearing with ceramic balls in there. So it provides very little friction as it rotates. So this thing rotates, and as it does, it kicks up the calc. We'll leave that there. One other fundamental issue, so this being one of the fundamental issues, is that the calc, or the fresh water, isn't making its way through the cloud to become saturated. So you get this stratification of, not only do you have calc at the bottom, or slurry at the bottom, but at the very top you have unsaturated water because it's not mixing properly. And another thing is, the paddle, I think, has to rotate and keep all that in suspension, not just kind of slowly rotate down the bottom and kind of just kick up a little bit of it. In theory, it makes sense, but I don't think that necessarily pans out. The other thing is sealing this thing completely off. So I have a rubber O-ring inside here, or a silicone O-ring, and this is completely sealed. The only way that air gets in is through this tube, because this is where the gravity fits. So the water pumps into here, and as it gets a little bit higher, the gravity just flows it right down the tube. So nothing can get in here to rob the saturation of the calc. And yes, there's probably a thin layer on that water on the top surface. The pH probe here is inside, and it's sealed with a little gasket. So I'm not allowing any oxygen into it to lower the saturation, to rob the solution. And I'm allowing my water to have to pass through all of that cloud before it makes its way up. Again, you don't need a large or tall reactor to do this. You just have to have a reactor that is built properly so that you address all those issues. A good stir, the fresh water has to pass through the cloud, and I think the whole thing has to be sealed. That's just my thought on it. And the pH does hold steady. So anyway, that's my rant. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit more insight on why I think the reactor is a better choice.